Okay, so yeah, I read this and I had to talk about it because this is a little stupid if you ask me. We'll get into it and you'll see what I mean. Black security guard fired after asking student not to use racial slur. Y'all know where I'm going with this one. You know where it's headed. A black security guard has been fired after asking a pupil, sorry, I hate that word, not to call him the N-word. Marlon Anderson said the teenager, who is also African American, used the racial slur repeatedly to refer to him. Like I said, you knew where this was going, and you know it's stupid. He responded to a call about the student who was being disruptive on October 9th at Madison West High School in Wisconsin. The 48-year-old said the teenager called him multiple obscenities, including the N-word. Like I said, stupid. Mr. Anderson told the pupil not to use the slur. He repeated the word during the exchange and was subsequently fired. There's the caveat. That's why he got fired. He said the word also. I know exactly why he said it. He was saying, hey, don't call me that. I guess he's not complaining about the other stuff. But just don't call me that word. I completely understand. Should he have been fired for it? No. Because you have to, clarify what word you're talking about. So to fire him for specifying, that's ridiculous. Now, if he was white, it'd be a different story. Because racism. Short story. I got called a blank ass N-word by a student. I responded, do not call me N-word. And I got fired, the security guard wrote on Facebook. Madison schools have a zero tolerance policy on staff using racial slurs. At least 7 Madison School District employees resigned or were dismissed over using such language in front of students in the last school year. Good God. That's a lot. Mr. Anderson was fired on Wednesday after 11 years working for the Madison Metropolitan School District. He said he was just trying to defend himself and argued that the context of the exchange should be taken into account. And like I said, yes, it should. But in today's society, context doesn't matter, apparently. It's feelings over context, You said this, take it completely out of context, and yep, you're a bad person. You gotta go. And how much you want to bet the student wasn't even punished whatsoever? My understanding of the policy was white staff shouldn't use the N-word under any circumstances, the security guard told NBC News. But I had no idea me being called the N-word and telling the student not to call me the word would get me fired. And like I said, it shouldn't. But in today's society, context doesn't matter. Anything taken out of context could get you fired. And makes me mad. The guy should not have been fired. Hundreds of pupils at Madison West walked out of classes on Friday to protest Mr. Anderson's dismissal, which I absolutely think is awesome. Because they know the school board, the administration, they screwed up in firing him. Somebody needs to say, hey, hold their feet to the fire and say, hey, y'all screwed up, fix it. Around 1,500 pupils marched through Madison to the school district office chanting, hey, 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 ho, zero tolerance has to go. And do better. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are certain times zero tolerance policies are absolutely fine. But most of the time, they end up getting screwed up like this, or abused, because context. The news also attracted attention on social media with Cher offering to pay the security guards legal fees if he chose to sue. Karen Boren, the school's head teacher, said the zero tolerance approach has been applied consistently. Yeah, and how many times has it been applied to out of context situations? That's what I would like to know. But Gloria Reyes, the district school board president, said she wanted the board to review its policy on racial slurs as soon as possible. This is an incredibly difficult situation, and we acknowledge the emotion, harm, and complexity involved, she said. Do ya? Because if you did, he wouldn't have been fired. Many people in our community and our district are grappling with that complexity, and we will continue to do so as we go forward. The Madison Teachers Union has filed a grievance with the school district on Mr. Anderson's behalf. Ms. Reyes said she had directed officials to handle the complaint quickly. Because, yes, you don't want it in the news. The less it's in the news, the better. But like I said, yeah, she may be doing all she can to help the guy, and that's fine. But I'm still going to hold their feet to the fire for letting him get fired. He shouldn't have been fired to begin with. But Jane Belmore, the board superintendent, said the zero tolerance policy was designed to protect students from harm, no matter the circumstances or intent involved. What harm did the guy invoke, whatever you want to call it, inflict on the kid who was calling him that, telling him to not call him that? That's what I'd like to figure out. Because as far as I'm concerned, the kid had it coming. The kid was calling him something, and he said, "Hey, don't call me that." That's it. He didn't call the kid that. He did not insult the kid. He did not attack the kid. The kid was doing it to him. But context doesn't matter. She added that different viewpoints had emerged and that the district would review the policy. They better rehire the guy. Mr. Anderson said he was left overwhelmed by the response from pupils defending him. God, I hate the word pupils. It's so old and antiquated. It got me a little emotional because, to be honest, you don't get that type of response from people until you're in a casket. No, he's not wrong. Hopefully, this will turn out better for him because, like I said, he shouldn't have been fired. Context does matter. So people need to pull their heads out of their rear ends and actually realize context matters. Do you think he should have been fired? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you in the next one.